Good morning, everybody. Good morning. It's me, Mitch, in short pants. It warmed up a little bit. It was 67 degrees outside my house this morning when I went outside. Wow. Supposed to be near 80 today, and then we're going to get some rain maybe. Hallelujah, we need it. Anyway, welcome to Morning Coffee with Mitch. Let's start the day. I've been waiting for this. Drink it if you got it. Now, I've just put myself in a position where I would have to reach way across under the microphone to press the button. I can do it with my right hand. Here we are. I should remember to push the button before I pick up the coffee. How's everybody? There we go. I have definitely arranged this studio to be stroke friendly for myself this past year. And tomorrow, I just got to get through tomorrow. Got to get through it. February 28th. The 1-year anniversary of probably the most consequential day of my life last year when I had this stupid stroke. So tomorrow, I hate to even use the term stroke-anniversary because it sounds celebratory. And my friends, there is absolutely nothing that you can celebrate other than, I guess, the recovery from it. But it is not an occasion. It is a life-altering. I had no idea how much a single life could be altered in a period of 30 seconds. And that was a year ago. Fortunately, I've been able to reclaim so much of my life since then. You guys have been with me on the journey, and I want to thank you so much. You have no idea what all the support and all the good wishes have meant to me over this past year. At any rate, I have mixed feelings about putting out a kind of a recovery summary video. I want to talk about it less, dwell on it less, and just get back to normal. But I may put together a little best of my stroke recovery video and put it out tomorrow on the 1-year anniversary. But that's a monumental occasion. I imagine Kilt's done. Is Kilty done, or is he still going over there? I guess they're done. Okay. Then it's just me. It's just me and you guys. And you guys. We had a nice live stream last night. Members live stream. We had Rick and Amy and Gary and me and Greg stopped in towards the end. I know I'm forgetting somebody. Peter wasn't there last night. Lewis was there. Lewis was there. Yeah, we had a nice little discussion. Always a good time. Always a good time. Thanks everybody who showed up and came in last night. Now, I'm reading the comments that just came in here. All right, let me start by doing what I normally do and tell you, number one, if you have anything you want to talk about or bring to my attention, put the QQQs in the chat. Somehow I manage usually to get through the whole chat, even though sometimes I have to speed up. And we'll get to it. Meanwhile, Michael from Tampa, first one in. Hi, Michael. How you doing? And Amy evidently rejoined up. Somebody must have screwed up and let her channel membership lapse. So before the stream last night, this popped up and welcomed her as a new member, but she's been a member for a while. Lady June, how you doing? And Lori says setting her alarm. Brian Dish, TGIF. It is Friday this morning. Wayne Herman, good morning from Lake Gaston, North Carolina. And Tracy Thompson, good morning to you. Good morning, Robert. Guess you watched the replay. And we have good morning from Lake Asheville, North Carolina, says Tracy. And Tracy asked a question here, or made a comment. I'm listening to Kilts, and I don't buy that fat on your body isn't pathologic. Doesn't it cause excess weight, which leads to joint pain at the very least? Not beast. That's a very nuanced subject, and you don't hear a lot of people talk about it. What is the definition of pathologic? What is the real definition of it? Pathology. Is it that it causes bad things? Harm? Because there are many things that aren't pathologic that also cause harm. Like a car accident. There are many other things that we can do besides things that are what's called pathologic, which means they're basically happening internally. You know, our body is happening in a physiologic way or inside our body. It's not caused by external means. So you have to. The answer to that question could be anything that you want it to be, Tracy. You can blame everything as being pathologic or nothing as being pathologic. Depends on how you define it. For example, you talk about joint pain, joint damage by excess weight. Well, what if your job is to lift cinder blocks on a construction site and hand them overhead to the guy up on the scaffold, and all that extra weight has destroyed your shoulders? Is that pathologic? Is the fat itself on your body excreting poisonous substances into your body that cause harm, which would truly be pathologic? And there are many doctors on YouTube that talk about how poisonous visceral fat is. Kelsey, on the other hand, comes in and says, no, it's not the fat itself that's poisonous. Fat can only be good because it has a reason for being there. Who's right? Who's wrong? Is it just an opinion, or is it a different definition? Now, yes, We store fat for a real survival reason, and that is to have energy in our gas tank to survive periods of famine and starvation, or cold weather, or hibernation, or long periods, long migrations. You know, back in the day that human beings were wandering, trying to find a more livable climate, and they were marching all day. They didn't have a bunch of protein bars and energy drinks strapped around their waist like marathon runners do. They had to carry their weight with them. So the fact that we get fat is not pathological. It's necessary. What happens when we add all that extra weight to our body, if it destroys our joints, I don't think that could be called pathologic. That's my opinion. Anybody can define anything any way that they want to. So they're great questions, Tracy. Great questions. We have the privilege of defining the context for any question and pretty well justifying whatever answer we might come up with, which is why it's so confusing. And there's so many differing opinions of everything. Everything. Jesse also says, isn't one of the results of low carb is a reduction in body fat? Yes. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely, because that's one of the easiest and quickest ways the body can make fat to store is by converting carbohydrates to triglycerides, stuffing them away in the fat cells. Again, that's a natural, normal, necessary function to survive. So most of us, however, we don't demonize fat for anything other than our appearance, which seems to be the most important thing to us, which makes us focus on the scale, and you know how I feel about that. But great points, Tracy. Great points. Mike Silly from Melbourne. Good morning, Michael. How you doing? Again, Michael visited me yesterday at my house here at 10:30 in the morning. Came up to my screen porch with cigar in hand, and we sat and talked for about an hour, hour and a half, smoked a cigar. It was a very, very, very nice visit, and I enjoy that, Michael. So keep on coming back. Maybe every couple of weeks come over here and smoke a cigar. Maybe one day I will join you on your balcony overlooking the intercoastal at your condo, and we'll smoke the cigars over there. Lance commented, great question, Tracy. He said, let's hear what Mitch thinks. And I never hesitate to tell you what I think. And I did just that. So I hope that answer was satisfactory to you. It was in some respects basically a might be, could be, you know, answer with a percentage like the weather of being correct, depending on how you look at it. Loretta, good morning, Loretta, and Aaron is here. Hi, Aaron, how you doing? And I still took all that time talking about that, and I haven't gotten to 7 o'clock yet. Out of breath. No, I'm not out of breath. I'm actually feeling terrific energy this morning. Got up this morning, woke up at 5. I said, wow, 5 o'clock. I feel like I'm just wide awake. I took a nice hot shower this morning, and it felt so good. Felt so good. And I was still, when I got out, when I was all done, it was 5:45. I set up for the live stream. And I went outside and I sat. I did make a cup of decaf with creatine in it this morning, and I had that. I watched Kelsey for a while out there, and then came back in there, and I just feel great. I just feel great. The walking is really, really improving. and starting to improve faster and faster and get back. I still have to be very careful, but getting back to normal. I'm getting maybe a little carried away with myself, and I got to be careful because I'm starting to move faster and faster through the house. No cane. I still wear my I've fallen and I can't get up button. I'm not ready to put that away yet. I still always have my cell phone with me, but I'm starting to really move around the house a little more, walk faster, walk around corners faster. And the downside to that is door frames. Door frames. Where is it? Can you see it? I can hardly see it. There it is. There it is. My latest. Bang into the door frame with your arm while you're walking too fast around the house and get a bruise. And I've been doing great lately. If you see my arms, if you look at my old videos, I had all those bruises all over my arms from banging into everything in the wheelchair. I'd be rolling with the wheelchair, and my arms would hit the door frame, and I'd scrape right at my arm, and I'd have the whole thing look like I came out of a car accident. And I've been bruise-free until this newfound excitement that I have about moving around faster and not feeling as tired or losing my energy as fast. And now I'm starting to bang into the door frames again. So we're going to have to put up with the forearm bruises, I guess, for a little while longer. That may be the worst thing that happens. Is I'll take it. With that one, I, honest to God, I did that early this morning. Bang! I mean, I said, "Uh-oh, that's gonna leave a mark." And sure enough, by the time I got out of the shower, it was already red. Already red. How are we doing on time here? Yes, we're coming up on it. On 7 o'clock. Leslie, good morning to you. How are you? And Asher, good to see Asher. Good to see you. Good to see you. Larry Ryan was here. And always, boy, these guys got it down pat. I have to give it to both of them. Lambs hit first, and then, of course, Robbie Autry right afterwards. So, congratulations. It's becoming a thing. Timing is precise. And Carnivore Chet, good morning to you. Anthony is here. Hi, Anthony. How are you? And Golden Girl, good morning to you. Don Chager, good morning. Brian Dish, all the usual viewers are here this morning. And Peter. Hey, Peter, how you doing? Missed you on the live stream last night. Imagine you were working. Hope it was successful for you. Bill Cook, how you doing? Terry P. and Lori checked back in this morning. And we have Sandy Bly this here. All at 7 o'clock. Good morning. Happy Friday, says Sean. Brenda McIntyre. Happy Friday, everyone. Loretta Nadow. Good morning, darlings. Have a fabulous day. Chuck from Clearwater Supertune. How you doing? Good to see you this morning. Place It Here is here as well. Good morning, Mitch. Lori, yeah, I'm showing some leg this morning. Showing a little leg. There it is. Yes. Don't get too carried away, ladies. I never thought of myself like that. I usually try to cover it up. How about that? I see a recent Peter put a QQQ in there. Just came across the wire down here. It said, question, Mitch, look how far you've come. You are paralyzed on one side, could barely walk with a wheelchair, then walker, then a cane. Now almost unaided. Your balance is much better. Speech improved, etc. Yes, I tell you what, Peter. in preparing to make this video for my 1-year stroke anniversary, or stroke adversary, which would be more like it, I been watching a lot of the old videos early on. And that's where I can actually notice, not only I noticed that right after the stroke, I looked so old. That's what I thought. And I had to go back and forth a couple of times because I was watching some of those older videos. And even though I still feel like I'm slurring my speech these days, when I listen to it, it sounds more normal. But back then, I sounded old. I thought I looked so much older and tired. And so in a year, there has been a marked recovery in my whole demeanor and everything. So I was very, very pleased about that. And just the biggest question on my mind, and I'll be honest with everybody, the biggest nagging fear that I have is that I'll have another stroke. I don't know if it's part propaganda or it just happens to anybody who has a medical catastrophe. You never thought it could happen to you in the first place. Now, we all have to be honest with ourselves. If you've never had a stroke, strokes are things that just happen to other people, not healthy people like us. Well, I was a healthy people, and it happened to me. So that shakes. It shakes you. It changes you. And since nobody can really definitively tell me what it was I did that caused the stroke, and that the human body is so complicated that sometimes things just happen, transient things, little glitches. Like every once in a while your computer crashes. Nobody knows why. But once it happens, you don't have that feeling of that only happens to other people. And I don't have that anymore. I don't dwell on it. I think it happened because of my head injury and the subsequent surgery, but what's to keep it from happening again? I can't do anything about it. There's nothing I can be proactive about, because all the proactive things that they tell me I need to do involve things that I know will hurt me more than help me, and were not the cause of my stroke. They want me on statins. They want me to try to really lower my cholesterol. You may as well ask me to consciously and actively try to get dementia, try to ruin my mind by depriving it of fat and cholesterol. That's what they're asking me to do. I know better than that, but that's what the advice that the so-called experts would give me. I saw a comment on a video this morning from somebody who actually said, I had a TIA. A TIA is a transient ischemic attack. Ischemic means a clot, means cell death because of lack of blood supply. A transient one is a little tiny one, so a mini stroke. Usually you don't have many bad effects. You haven't killed off too many brain cells, and you recover pretty quickly. But this guy said, I had a TIA, and the first thing my doctor told me was, I must start taking statins, assuming that the cause of the TIA was cholesterol, which it can't possibly be. Your brain without cholesterol is dead. It cannot function. Your body without cholesterol is dead. Yet they blame cholesterol for everything. They don't even understand what cholesterol is. They don't know the difference between lipoproteins and cholesterol. They're so brainwashed, so misled, that advice about lowering your cholesterol ends up hurting more people than it helps. And I won't have it anymore. But that doesn't solve my problem. Is that how can I guarantee myself that I'll never have another stroke? Because I don't want to go through that again. I don't want to have to go back to square one and find myself half paralyzed and in rehab in that horrid place where they tried on a daily basis to kill me rather than help me. But there are no guarantees, so I live with it. So there's this little nagging thing in the back of my mind that I'm saying right now, let me just get through tomorrow. Let me get through that first year without having another stroke. And I'm pretty confident I'm going to make it. So tomorrow night on Saturday Night Live, tomorrow night on my live stream, we're going to have a celebration and we're going to have a party, a survivor's party. And here's Mitch exactly 1 year later, because at the same time on this last year, on the 28th of February, the same time at 7 o'clock in the evening, I was laying in the hospital emergency room, having just had the stroke. So this year, there is a cause to celebrate, and we're going to do just that. So everybody, come help me celebrate a year of triumph and survival, of clawing back, trying to regain as much of my previous life as I could, and just being so grateful that the stroke wasn't worse, and it didn't take any of my mind, any of my consciousness, any of my intelligence along with it. That part of my brain got spared from the damage, and predominantly the damage was just muscle control and physical connections. But on the inside, I never stopped being me. And that's the real tragedy of a stroke. So in that respect, I'm very, very fortunate. I don't know who to thank for that fortune, but whoever, my gratitude. Ah, that's good coffee. And what do we got here? Anything? Sam's Club has sent me an email of the things I cannot live without. Thank you, Sam's Club. What would I do without you? And I got a new toy today. I'm going to make a video unboxing my dehydrator and trying to learn how to use it and putting a bunch of bacon in it and getting it started. And I'm going to make a video about that and let you know what I think about it. We talked about the dehydrated bacon last night. The consensus in the community is it's a must-have. So I don't know if it's a downside, but the consensus is also once you start eating it, you can't stop. So you got to be cautious about maybe making too much of it, because Gary was telling us that's his problem. He can't stop eating it. It's so good. Well, I don't think you can eat too much. I think eventually the fat will get those satiety hormones flowing, and you'll be able to stop eating it. I got an 8-tray one, and I'll show it to you. So it's still sitting in a box on my counter, you know, where I usually put the boxes before I open them up and make the video. So we're going to do that today. You'll see me in my I may be wrong, but I doubt it t-shirt, and I still believe in that. Well, I still haven't gotten past 7 o'clock in the chat. I better get my ass in gear here. Pardon my French. Terry P says, "That's it. I'm moving to Florida." And she was commenting about me talking about being outside this morning in my short pants. Danny in Boston, how you doing, Danny? How are you? Good to see you, my friend. Hope it's warming up there. And Rick from Miami had to run the air conditioner last night. Yes, I switched my thermostat yesterday during the day because it was getting warmer from heat back to air condition. So I left it there, and it's going to probably come on today before the end of the day. Bride's Biscuit is here. How you doing? Good morning to you. I said hi to you, said hi to you. Donna Ray at Bacon Runner, life is great. Yes, life is looking greater and greater all the time. All the time. I'm up to 7:02 in the chat, half hour behind. Yes, sir, right where that seems to be my comfort zone. Yeah, Laurie. February 28th, worst day of our lives. Well, it's amazing. What really is amazing to me is it seems like yesterday. Where the hell did the year go? Time, slow down, time. You move too fast. And Brian BMAT says, happy Friday. Loretta says, celebrating that you're alive another year. Yeah, we all should celebrate that every year. That's true. We usually use our birthdays for that occasion, but Josephine Calloway, glad you're doing well, Mitch. Thank you so much, everybody. And who is this? This is Lewis. Hey, Lewis. Good morning. And you, yes, and you were here last night. That's what I was talking about way back at the beginning of the stream. Let me, Frank says, you are the new Butter Bob. No, Frank, there is only one Butter Bob, and he's back. And he's going to have his, a live stream on Sunday again at 6, so I'll be there. And I'm very happy for him, because he's really too young to be given up yet. I'm too young to give up yet. And if I'm too young, that means everybody else is too. Yeah, you're right. Pathologic contains multiple definitions. It does. So to say something is a pathologic or not, you have to really define the context. And that's where so much of our misunderstandings coming from in this world is so much of what we hear. Try to figure out and believe is taken completely out of context. And the context is more important than the actual words themselves. That opens up a lot of wiggle room for the narrators of the world who continually try to set the narrative without considering the context of the evidence they're using to support the narrative they're trying to create. Wow. Did I just say that? That was profound. Occasionally I get profound. Yeah, now everybody's discussing that in the comments. All right, I'm going to go fast. A question, Mitch. I think all your loyal Mitch Fits would enjoy you making a stroke recovery progress highlights video to show you. Yeah, I think so, Peter. I'll put it out there. Don't expect it to be a bestseller, but I think it'd be good to have it on the record, although most of what I would put in that video has already been put out on other videos. Just, if you start, I have a playlist on my channel. It's my stroke recovery. And you can go to these playlists and binge. You can just say, play the entire playlist, and it starts at the beginning. I don't know if anybody could sit still. It would probably take a good day or two to go through all those videos nonstop. Because I did make a lot of videos about the stroke and different phases of my recovery, usually celebrating a monumental first time I drove, first time I walked a mile, first time I walked without support. Some of those videos are very, even I get teary-eyed when I watch them. They're emotional to me. I remember the emotion of the moment. I don't know how good my filmmaking is, but if some of my audience gets teary-eyed, then I've done what a good filmmaker should do, and that is enable the viewers to experience the same emotion that the star did. It's not an easy thing to do. A lot of times in cinema, in fact, most of the time, because I do study cinematography. I love the psychology of it. How important music is in reinforcing what emotions might come from what you see or you think. And that's the most often and most common used way that cinematographers convey emotion, and that we interpret it and feel it. We can feel tension in a horror movie when certain type of tense music happens. We get tears in our eyes when certain styles of music are played. And music and sound does trigger emotion. And that happens sometimes, not necessarily on purpose in my video, but it does happen. Even to me, I might tear up at some this just comes across with raw emotion, like it was when I actually made the video. And one of those times, if you ever go back and watch it, is when you can hear my voice break up. At the end of the video I made where I announced that I had a stroke, at the very end of that video, I almost broke down, and you can sense it. And every time I watch that, I get that same feeling again, and I get tears in my eyes. So I'll probably try to put a little bit of that into this video I make, some of those moments, because that captured the actual humanity of it and the reality of what it does to you, no matter how positive you try to stay. There are things that happen that you just can't be positive about. And you have to, in some manner, express your true feelings of fear, anger, hurt, until you can get through that. And I talk about that a lot. I talk about the 5 stages of grief. You don't necessarily go through those only when somebody dies. You can go through those things when a catastrophe happens to you. You have to go through those things. You have to go through denial, then anger, of course, then acceptance, and everything else, until you can finally get your joy back and your life back. And if nothing else, what I went through in the past year is not unique, not nearly as bad as so many people go through. My catastrophe of a mild stroke was nothing compared to a serviceman comes back with his legs blown off, what he has to face. So I'm not putting myself out there as having had the worst catastrophe, but it's a catastrophe nonetheless, and it makes you face head-on your mortality, your vulnerability. We all like to think, like I said, that can't happen to us, but it makes you face it. And it's a tremendous life lesson, living through it, coming out the other side. Maybe not as good as you were, but in a lot of respects, better than you were, with deeper understanding and compassion for those people. Where previously you might have said, oh, so-and-so had a heart attack, and now he can't walk anymore. God, that's a shame. What's for dinner? What's for dinner? And you move on. When it happens to you, it slows you down, and you much more readily can put yourself in the place of that person, and it makes you, I think, whether you want to be or not, it makes you a much more empathetic and compassionate human being. And for that, I think I've come out the back end of this actually new and improved Mitch. And once I got past the anger and past the denial, past the bitterness, over the past month or two, I think many people have pointed out to me and noticed a complete change in my demeanor and my attitude and my joie de vivre, my joy of life, that I maybe didn't have at this level beforehand. It's like people have a near-death experience, come back and as a whole new person because they appreciate life in a way they never did before. Sometimes you just don't appreciate something until you've lost it. And then we're fortunate enough to get it back. I'm not saying everybody should have to go through that, but I think the people that do go through that and come out the back end, come out a better human being with a grasp of what's really important in this world than people that have lived this charmed life and nothing bad ever happened to them. I wax philosophical again. All right, let me get through it. Mitch, that was the thing. Peter, yes, I read that one earlier, and let's try to get caught up here. About 20 minutes behind, not too bad. Butter Bob is here. I haven't gotten to that in the chat yet, but Bob, good morning to you, sir. How are you? How are you? Okay, Mike Seeley, yes. Mike Seeley, Melbourne. We are having a little meetup in Melbourne. I want to call it the Lucky Melbourne Meetup. It's going to be on Friday, March the 13th at 11:30 a.m. at the Melbourne Square Mall. Mike Seeley's going to make the arrangements at the restaurant, and we're going to just put the date out there. I'm going to start talking about it. We talked about it yesterday on the phone and arranging it. I don't know how big a turnout we'll get. I don't know if Nelson or Kiltsey can be able to make it. I don't know if Jerry Voitish is going to be able to make it, whether Peter's going to be able to make it. I have no idea, but we're just going to set the date. The worst thing that could possibly happen is wonderful anyway, and that is that me and the two Mike Seeleys will have lunch together by ourselves. But we're going to be there Friday the 13th, 11:30. At the Brazilian Steakhouse in the Melbourne Square Mall. And anybody that can get here is going to be in the neighborhood is welcome to come by and join us. It's not a big event. There's no entry fee, no cost, no nothing. You buy your lunch. That's about it. And for the cigar smokers among you, we will probably adjourn to Jimmy's, the cigar lounge close by, after lunch and sit around. And last year, Nelson came to with us, and we had a great time. I'm looking forward to it. So thank you, Mike Seeley, both junior and senior, for insisting that we do these things. It's not going to be a big event with speakers and hotel rooms and all that, but if you're anywhere within an hour or two, or Rick, if you could figure out, maybe you can get together with Peter, if he's going to come up, and you can ride up with him. If there's some way you can get up here, that would be absolutely great. Anybody else in the neighborhood, that'd be great to see it. And like I say, it's just lunch, so I don't want to see, I really don't encourage people to spend a ton of money, jump on an airplane, unless you're so sick and tired of the cold where you are that you say, well, I'll spend a couple of days in Florida anyway. Let me come down for it. That would be a great excuse. We'd love to have you. If you are coming, RSVP to me at oldguycarnivore@gmail.com and let me know you're coming. And thank you, Michael. Thank you for reminding me, and keep reminding me to talk about it. Keep reminding me. There, Butter Bob. Hiya, Butter Bob. Bob, good to see you, my friend. Good to see you. I'm looking forward to seeing you on Sunday. And glad to see you're doing well, and watching some of the shorts that you're putting out, including that little one that had me show up in it. I like that. And that's true. The two most important things. I keep harping on that. Throw away the scale and stuff your face for the first 30 days. You have a better chance of succeeding on carnivore if you do those two things. How do I know? I learned it the hard way. That's how I know. Like everything else I know. It's an old saying, education is expensive, no matter how you come by it. And that is very, very, very true. Very true. So good to see you, Bob. Glad you're here this morning. And I'm looking forward to Sunday. Rick, good morning. Robbie said, okay. And Rick says, Mitch has such a good attitude now that a stroke is not in his future. Rick, as my mother used to say, from your lips to God's ears, that's true. No more strokes in my future. Something's going to get us all one of these days. I think it's better if we don't know what that might be. I think if we knew all the things that might be bad that could happen to us, we'd spend all of our time being depressed about it and couldn't enjoy life. Couldn't enjoy life. And Rick says, I predicted that a month after a stroke, Mitch, you back online. Yes, I actually did. I actually started having live streams again about a month after the stroke. I recorded that first video 1 week after my stroke when I finally got out of the hospital and into rehab. And since then, I've been making a steady stream of videos because I thought it was a story that should be shared real time. I was motivated to recover, and I wanted to share that, at least, even though there have been a few negative times during the recovery. I wanted to try to set an example of what you can accomplish when you do what you know is right and you stay positive, which is one of the most important things. One of the most important things. Loretta says it's normal to have a little PTSD after a medical event like stroke, sepsis, cancer. Yes. Yeah. Post-traumatic stress syndrome. You don't have to go to Afghanistan and get shot at to have PTSD. You can have a second marriage like I had. And it's worse than the PTSD you get from being in a war zone. Believe me. Believe me. Won't talk about that anymore. Hi, Tammy. Good morning to you. And Tammy chimed in and said the doctors have ruined us because they literally don't know. True. Very, very, very true. Bill Cook says, since going carnivore, I think I have like 117 brain cells now, thanks to bacon. Yes, very true, very true. And DS111, good morning to you, my friend. The real value of live streams is that people are real. There is an AI channel with a 170-year-old man who shares wisdom. That is AI, Salvatore Benedetto. It looks so real. Mitch looks real too. Yeah. I've watched a lot of these. You get a lot of these wisdom from old people or phony AI videos of a talking head or something that looks like a person, billed as a person, sounds like a person, and there's a good and bad aspect to those. Even though the production is hokey and it's AI and you know it's AI, somebody had to write the script that the AI is using, and some of those scripts have great information in them. I have a prejudice against AI-generated content because I generate real content with real people and real talking in real time. A minimum amount of editing, no flashy editing, none of that words flashing all over the place stuff. I don't try to condense my entire message into 30 seconds. I will take 20 minutes and sit down and have a discussion. Most people won't sit through that. They don't have the patience anymore to digest something slowly. If it isn't crammed into their brain by every psychological trick, they're bored. When you're bored and you're in a hurry to learn, you'll never learn. You're just cramming your memory full of meaningless transactions, flashing images, but you're never getting the chance to analyze, to think deeply, to consider, to integrate these new thoughts into what you already have as beliefs and truths, and you come out the worse for it. And one of the reasons our society is going to hell in a handbasket is too much information, too many transactions, too many things to deal with, where none of them get the time and consideration they deserve. Well, I refuse to join into what YouTube and everybody else tells you is how you have to make videos these days. I'm going to make fewer videos, but when I make them, I'm going to try to show some deep thinking, some logic, and some common sense, and present it at a pace where if somebody isn't in a hurry to get on to the next flashy thing, can sit and listen. Maybe or maybe not, they'll gain something from it. But I don't think we gain anything permanent from constantly being bombarded direct to brain data. We just come out bleary-eyed and confused. We may have heard 100 important things. None of them have really registered if we take it in that fast. That's science fiction. That's a brain dump. It's not real yet. We're not supposed to learn like that, even though the psychologists tell us that's a better way to learn. If your entire task is only to absorb data and information, yes, maybe those techniques work. But if what's important to you is integrating, fact-checking mentally, making sure all this new flashy data that you've just taken in either conflicts with or agrees with what you've already believed, There's no way you're going to get any wiser or more or smarter just by absorbing massive amounts of data, which you can probably regurgitate, which is why sometimes the people that get the highest grades in school are not the smartest and most introspective people. They excel at parroting shit they've heard but have no understanding of it at a real basic level. It's sad. I see it around all the time. It's why I can't watch shorts. I'm sorry. I know a lot of people do very well with shorts. I can't watch them. I can't just go from one to another. One 30-second blast to the next 30-second blast of words and flashing things and trying to make a point in a soundbite. I can't do it. I can't watch it. I can't make them. I don't want to make them. I keep fighting the urge because that's what YouTube tells me I got to do. If I'm going to be successful on YouTube, I've got to speed up, get it done in the first 30 seconds, and the actual data from my analytics proves it out. When I look at the curve of how many people are watching after 30 seconds, how many people are watching after a minute, and the graph that goes down all the way to the end. It's a constant. It's just people have no patience anymore. One of my old jokes I used to say when I used to go into like a printer or a dry cleaner, and they would ask me, "When do you need this back, sir?" Remember those days when you used to actually take something into a business that they had to do something to it, dry cleaner, whatever it was. They'd say, "When do you need this back?" My answer would always, and it's a joke, my answer would always be, "I need it yesterday." And if you've ever owned a service business, you'll know that that's the attitude of most people. I need it yesterday. And I would always follow that up. I would look at them and I'd say, "I needed it yesterday. Because if I needed it today, I would have waited till tomorrow to bring it in." And I used to get a chuckle whenever I said that. But that's reality. That's how a lot of people think these days. Everybody just wants everything yesterday. That's why Amazon is doing such a great job. If they could figure out how to deliver shit to you before you order it, they would own the world. It's coming. I swear, one of these days you're going to get a thing from Amazon that says, "We know more about you than your mother ever did. We know what you're going to want to buy before you think you want to buy it. And if you sign up for this program, we will have what you think you're going to want tomorrow maybe delivered to you yesterday." And people say, "Wow, that's great, yeah." And remove the last vestiges of us having to think for ourselves and turn it all over to the computers that know more about us than we actually know about ourselves. And we're coming to that, and we're allowing it to happen, and the evidence of it is everywhere. And old people like me who remember the old days of answering machines, of not having the constant anxiety of being available every second if somebody should want to call, of not worried about what's coming in the mail today, of not fear of missing something. We were more relaxed. We had an answering machine. Now I'll get to it when I get home. Maybe somebody called, maybe they didn't. I have no idea. I don't care. You don't feel that way when you get a missed call on your cell phone. You panic. Uh-oh, it might have been that important. And if your wife can't reach you, or your husband can't reach you on your cell phone, they assume right away that you're dead because you always answer on the first ring, "Where are you now?" And that the stress and anxiety that this way of life is putting on us is not doing our health any good. Nobody can turn their cell phones off anymore. That's how plugged in we've gotten. And those of us that are old enough, we remember, I think it was better before technology and before the internet. We had there's advantages to it, but our life was simpler. Not nearly as many transactions. All right, I'm going to try to, because it's already 8 o'clock, because I talk too much. I hope I'm saying something that's meaningful to somebody with all this talking that I do. This is very nice. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Daniel. I appreciate that. Love listening to you on the way to work. You are way better than any news outfit or sports radio. Keep up the amazing work, brother. Thank you so much, my friend. And I want to see you again on one of our live streams. Come in. Maybe Saturday night. We can get to know you a little better. It was nice meeting you the other day. Peter says, the longest living woman in the U.S. is Naomi Whitehead, 115 years old. She was born in 1910 and used to pay cotton tobacco. She says she never smoked or drank alcohol. Well, if she smoked or drank alcohol, she probably lived to be 120. We'll see. The problem with so many of those people, Peter, just like everything else, she's 115 years old. According to who? According to who? There are probably no records of her birth. It's probably just a claim. My father had no idea when he was born. Now, we can't fathom that today. He was 10 years old when he came to this country from Russia in 1911. So they knew he was about 10 years old. They had no official records from Russia that they could bring with them. No birth certificates, no nothing. I doubt that they even exist anymore with the turmoil that was going on over in Eastern Europe in those days with all the immigration and people trying to get out of the Eastern Europe and get to America, like my father did and his family. They kind of figured he was born in 1901. So when he came into Ellis Island, he had to tell him what their date of birth was. So most of them didn't really know. So what they all did is they took the year they thought they were born in, and they made December 31st their birthday. They figured, I'm going to give myself the benefit of the doubt. If I know I was born in 1901, I'm going to make myself as young as I could possibly make myself and list December 31st as my birthday. And that was my dad's birthday, December 31st. When we hear claims of people in some remote tribe somewhere in Africa living to 120 years old, 125 years, we have no clues. It could be just bullshit. It could be a wild guess. It could be somebody trying to claim that they're more miraculous than they actually are. So take everything with a little cynicism and question it. Maybe she's 105 years old. We don't know. Unlike a car, we don't have an odometer. We can't just lift a little flap up on our head and read our mileage. So, okay, maybe she is 150 years old, but maybe like most. Yeah, Bryce Biscuit says, almost 100% of any video involving a centenarian today is AI. Yeah, it's a thing right now. It is. That AI is going to ruin everything that's believable in a very short period of time. It's going to destroy politics. It's going to increase the propaganda level by an order of magnitude more than we get now. You won't be able to believe your lying eyes because everything you see is going to be so well done. It's believable. And we're allowing that to happen. We're allowing that to happen. And it can't be a good thing. Used to be, if you were a YouTuber, you would take pride. I take pride. My videos may not be the smoothest, most professional, but every word that comes out of my mouth is a real word that came out of my real mouth, from my real brain. That takes a certain talent to just start talking about with nothing in mind and have it just come out, to be assembled into your brain in real time, and actually maybe sometimes even make sense or have some wisdom attached. That's humanity. That's talent. Computers that are programmed don't have talent. They don't have their own experiences to build their message on. They have only the experiences of everything in the world that ever happened that's programmed into their databases. They can't tell you anything and have no conviction or knowledge or idea of whether what they're saying is actually true or not. More than likely, it's somebody else's lie and propaganda, which is why when you ask Google today, what's the best diet, you get the conventional line. Healthy fruits and vegetables, healthy whole grains, avoid the evil meat, and don't eat the fat. Well, of course, that's what a computer is going to tell you, because that's the majority of the bullshit advice we've been getting for the past 100 years, and that's what it uses to learn. So we're teaching these AI models absolute garbage, falsehoods and propaganda. And that's exactly what they're going to return to us unless we keep digging deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper to get past the levels of all the propaganda and nonsense and get to the few opinions that may be real, like the carnivore world, that you never ever get presented to you until you dismiss, one at a time, all of the falsehoods that will be displayed to you first. That's the problem with AI. The danger now is it will be misled by the propaganda. The danger tomorrow is that they will hook these things up to killer robots and turn them loose on society. And that's when it's all over, folks. And hopefully we can hold that off, because if things keep going like they're going right now, the greatest prophecy ever made in a movie is going to be the Terminator. And that's becoming more and more possible with every passing day. And if you've ever watched, I hate to say this, if you've ever watched some of these videos coming out of China right now about the capabilities of some of the robots they're building, I don't want them in my life. I don't want them around. I don't want them driving police cars. Honest to God, I don't want that. I don't want to have to live in fear of some misled computer working off some bullshit programming decide that the human race needs to be exterminated. There are people in this world that are giving out that warning, but nobody's taking them seriously, because they can use AI to make more profit on YouTube by making more and more videos. At any rate, I'm sorry about that. I get off on that kind of stuff, but it's real. It's real, and we don't think about that. We need to be doing some serious legislating to limit this. Daniel, how can I contact you? Email me. Email me, OldGuyCarnivore@gmail.com. It's in every one of my videos in the description, my email address. And anybody can contact with me, and I read every email I get. Wow, I'm so far behind. All right, I'm going to have to speed up here because I'm going overtime today. I can never finish in time. It's I always joke about the fact that I start these live streams and say, I wonder what the hell I'm going to talk about for an hour. And then inevitably I always end up wondering, how can I end this? I haven't dealt with it all yet. I haven't dealt with it. Let me speed through the chat here looking for questions. I was talking about the weather. I'm at 7:56. All right, getting there. Trying not to read every word of these things, but 8:01. Bacon Runner. ES 111. The worst thing is my fat boss. You'll be a great stand-up comedian, my friend. You got a topic, your fat boss. Yeah. It sounds like there would be no end to the material that might provide for you. Peter says, how about this for the title of your video? From tragedy to triumph, my 1-year stroke recovery. I'm not just alive, I'm trying. Well, that's a great title, Peter. Maybe a little presumptuous of me to say that, and definitely too long a title for a YouTube video, but I understand the theme. And that, come up with something like that. But you got to keep your titles less, really, according to the conventional wisdom of the YouTube experts, don't exceed 8 words in a title of a YouTube video. And don't exceed more than 3 or 4 words of text on a thumbnail. It's too much for most people. It takes too much time for them to actually read 4 words to grab their attention. That's the problem. Attention span, of which we have none anymore. I think all that started with the clicker. How you got used to sitting there clicking through channels on the TV looking for something to watch and never watching anything long enough to figure out whether there was really something there that would interest us. We're just mindlessly clicking from channel to channel. Oh, can I get to the end of this chat? Maybe. Come on now, we're coming up on 8:15. Still got 100 of you or so here. There we go. There's the answer, Rick. EMP, the robots. So those of you who don't know what EMP is, electromagnetic pulse that destroys electronics, can come from a nuclear explosion or a dirty bomb. And yes, the defense against these things for us flesh and blood humans is going to be a pistol that emits an incredibly high-powered, focused EMP beam that would pretty much stop anything that relies on electronics. And then the biggest challenge for the manufacturers of these machines would be shielding against the EMP pulses, and that could be done. And we'd have a situation where instead of body armor that cops wear to stop the bullets, the robot cops would have to be wearing some kind of EMP shielding to stop the beams from the guns. And the battle that's been raging since the beginning of time, the rules of war would again go to the next level, but it's still history repeating itself. Build a better weapon, invent a defense for the better weapon. Build the next better weapon, and we'll keep doing that until somebody finally figures out how to blow up the entire planet, like you see in these science fiction movies, where a whole planet just explodes. And that'll be the end of it. Might be a merciful end, too, if we allow things to keep going like they're going. All right, no, I didn't. I thought I got to the end of the chat, but I didn't. Now I'm at the end of the chat, and DS111 says, Lori Weitzel, you are a firecracker. And on that note, my friends, I'm going to play a little happy music and bring this to a close this morning. I had a good time. I don't know about you. Evidently you did. A lot of chatting going on. That's great. That's great. And when I watch the replay, which I always do, I watch it for the main reason of actually reading the chat as it goes by. When I don't have to worry about putting on a pretty face, saying something intelligent, being entertaining, I could just watch as a spectator, and I read all the stuff that you put in there, and I love it. I love it. I get a big, even though I haven't been able to comment on all of it, I do personally get such a kick out of this community and all of you who I consider friends, coming in here, sharing your life and your stories with each other and with me. And as always, I'm grateful. I'm grateful for that. Grateful for that. Don Shiger, have a great day all. Lori Watts, a great time, Mitch. Thank you, Lori. Thank you so much. Danny in Boston, happy day all. See you tomorrow morning, says Rick. Play your song, will you, Rick? Play your song. I'll even tune in right at 8 o'clock so that I can hear your song play before you start talking. And the song I'm talking about is Rick Don't Eat No Duck Food. And if you haven't heard that song that Grandma Barbara wrote, by God, I played it again last night. It is the funniest thing I've ever heard for a long time. It is so funny. So funny. And Rick, you gotta keep playing it like I play my song. Those are truly gifts from Barbara. Tremendous gifts. Having a theme song as great as that. And yours is funny as hell. So I'll look forward to that tomorrow morning. With all that being said, my friends, I will see you tomorrow night on Saturday Night Live. Probably celebrate my 1-year stroke anniversary. I will be back on Monday morning with Morning Coffee with Mitch. First Monday in March. I can't promise it. I may pop up maybe with an impromptu live sometime on Sunday, my day off, if I can't stand not being on YouTube for a day. We'll see. But until then, until we meet again, happy trails. No, that's not how it ends. It ends with take the rest of the day off and eat meat.